Tracy, talk to us about Aspen Care Homes. That's something that intrigued me when I first met you.
That's ISO. Rack it up. I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up. She got.
Just like, okay, she's kind of into real estate too. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very proud of what I've developed and grown. So I talk about it often, and I really love it when I come across someone who kind of lights up, their eyes light up when I talk about it, because I'm like, oh, a fellow entrepreneur, someone who's interested in this. So I am a nurse. My background is kind of varied. I've had a lot of different jobs and positions, if you will. Um, I kind of like to joke that I've reinvented myself many times over and over the past 20, 30 years. And all of my experiences kind of led me to where I'm at now and kind of prepared me for this business that I ultimately started. And I think it's really fascinating how when we're growing and moving forward, we are pulling from so many experiences that we're probably not even aware of. It's kind of a subconscious utilization of all of our past experiences.
Right.
So I've worked in banking. I wanted to be a
Okay.
banker.
Oh, nice.
Moved my way up through banking, realized maybe I don't want to be in banking. Um,
Wait,
to,
why didn't you like banking?
so when I was a very young mom. I was a teenage mom.
Okay.
And I never wanted to be that stereotypical single, um, young mom on welfare. I always wanted more.
Right.
And I thought that bankers, the tellers, were so elegant and just so professional. And I thought,
Yeah.
I want to be that. And I had no experience, but I knew who the HR person was at this particular bank. This was years ago.
Okay.
So I kind of hounded this person. I would call her almost weekly and practically beg for an opportunity to interview. And she would always dismiss me because I didn't have experience.
Right.
But I persevered and wore her down until she interviewed me and I got hired.
Right. So you stalked her.
I stalked her. I'm very tenacious that way. And I wanted this job and I knew I could do it. I don't know how I knew I could do it. I was 19.
Wow.
But I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And I got the job and I killed at it. I slayed. I moved my way up.
I
I was
like
a
that.
new account. I became a new account rep. I was actually training to be a branch supervisor when I decided maybe I want to be a teacher. So I go part-time and start going to Pima Community College.
Okay.
And I'm taking prerequisites for teaching. And I actually did land a job as a special ed teaching assistant, which
Okay.
oddly enough, I had no experience and had to kind of stalk the hiring person again
Right.
until they hired me. But, I think the point of this is if you want something, don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Go for it. Sell yourself. Be persistent.
Right.
So anyway, ultimately, I was in school thinking I wanted to be a special ed teacher, and a girl in my chemistry class said, "Hey, you have all the prereqs for nursing school. They're taking applications next week." So I'm like, suddenly,
You're like, okay. this
I'm
becomes-
applying to nursing school. Funny thing, that girl didn't get accepted, but I did.
Oh, wow.
She did not get accepted. But I did, and it's the best, deviation from my plan that I've ever made. I mean, it really was. I loved nursing school. Being an RN has afforded me so much opportunity. I have learned so much, and that really is kind of the stepping stone, if you will, to my, professional growth. Doing all of that was hard. I mean, looking back, tackling all those jobs, going to school, going to nursing school as a single parent was very difficult, but so well worth it.
How long was the schooling, if you don't mind me asking? Because
Well, I went to Pima Community College, so they have a 2-year associate degree in nursing.
right,
I had planned on going to the U of A afterward to get my bachelor, but there was really no reason.
yeah,
I was doing well. I had a great job. It was going to cost me money, both the money for tuition and loss of income to go back to school. So I never did return, and I have no regrets about
okay.
that.
What kind of just switching subjects really quick. What's your what's your perception on entrepreneurs who just choose not to do any schooling at all whatsoever?
I think it's fine.
Okay.
I think that the, like, you know, street smarts will get you pretty
Okay,
far. Intuition,
Right.
um, just being, like I said, scrappy. I always kind of joke about myself. Maybe I'm not the smartest person
Right.
in the room. I mean, I'm not dumb,
Yeah.
but I am like a go-getter.
You're
You know,
slick.
I'm slick,
too.
and I am.
Not only is she fit, because she's really fit, guys. She's really fit, but she's slick.
Well, so you know, if you want something, you got to go for it. Now, it's a quality I have. I'm a bit like a bulldog. I will latch onto something and not let go, and it's a good and a bad trait.
Right.
It's served me well, but it's also, you know, not been good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you need to let go, you know. And I'm like, no. So yeah, that's, I say education is great. When I graduated high school, I really needed more education.
Right.
I did not feel equipped to go out into the world. So I honestly took some remedial type courses.
Okay.
I did not have a great education. I was not a good student. I started kindergarten when I was 4 years old, and I was always behind. I don't even remember like kindergarten and first grade.
Yeah.
I was not a good student. So I went to Pima. I owe a lot to Pima Community College, I have to say. For me, it was a good move. But I think education is good, but I think it's also bad. I
Right.
think young people get sucked into a major that, you know, because they're forced to pick something, and they spend a lot of money and they wind up with like a psychology degree or something, you know,
Right.
or whatever. So, you know, if it's right for someone, then they should do it. If not, I don't think entrepreneurs necessarily need
Right.
to have a degree.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that has, I guess, quite a bit of debate as well, especially newer entrepreneurs. I know myself and like my inner circle, it's something we're always talking about.
Yeah.
Especially it's just, a bit time consuming, and we'll ask, hey, well, what if we just got the experience as well? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, learning is the best experience. Doing something is the best experience. And we're so fortunate that we have the internet. I Google everything. If I don't know how to do something, I figure it out. I ask. I look up examples. You can figure out a way to do things
Right.
if you have the desire to do it. Of course, education does help you and prepare
Yeah.
you. But mostly everything I've accomplished is through my own grit and my own research,
Oh, man.
honestly. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Tracy, my question is, so we moved from, what was it? It was banking, and then from banking we went to becoming a teacher. Then from becoming a teacher to an RN. Then from RN, how did we get into Aspen Care Homes?
Okay, so my RN degree has also been interesting. I
Right.
initially was an adolescent psychiatric nurse.
Okay.
Brutal job. One of the hardest jobs I've ever had.
Details. Why?
I loved everyone I worked with. You worked with psych techs, you worked with MDs, you worked with other nurses. These are kids who are admitted due to psychosis, schizophrenia,
Oh, wow.
depression, suicidal, homicidal thoughts. A lot of these kids were sexually abused. Really difficult stuff.
Yeah.
And it was such a hard job. But I loved it. And it taught me that I can think fast on my feet, that I am made of something that most people are not, that I'm tough as hell.
Right.
And it was like, I thought, there is no nursing job I cannot do after doing this. It was a rough 2 years. I loved every minute of it, and I have no desire to go back. But from there, I decided I wanted to be a chemo-oncology nurse.
Okay.
So again, stalked the hiring manager at an oncology office. She did not want to hire me. I did not have experience. Wore her down, just bothering her. And ultimately got hired as an infusion chemo nurse. Loved it. That was also kind of a difficult job, but very rewarding, very fulfilling.
Right.
That led me to a job working for a specialty infusion pharmacy. So I was doing home infusion, which is folks at home who need IV therapy.
Okay.
Maybe they need IV antibiotics or some sort of continuous, medication related to a chronic diagnosis. And this is how I learned about assisted living. I knew about assisted living centers, which are large communities with, probably greater than 30 residents.
Yeah.
But I did not know about adult care homes, which are 10 or less residents.
Okay.
So I owned some property because throughout my whole journey, ever since I was in my mid-20s, I knew that property and real estate, my dad taught me this,
Right.
were just something you acquired. This was just an asset. These were just assets that were, if you could get into a property, buy a property, own a property, it was just a smart investment.
Yeah.
So I thank my dad for that. So I had opportunity to buy properties along the way.
Right.
If I had any sort of savings, I would use it to buy real estate.
Okay.
Which is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard thing to do because you don't get to appreciate and recognize the gain immediately. It's a long hold often, unless you're flipping.
Yeah.
So you're taking your money and putting it down, and you're just sitting patiently. You feel kind of like you're sacrificing, but you're not. You have to spend money to make money. So I was smart along the way to know to do these things.
So let me ask you real quick, kind of interrupting you. How would you, I guess, hold these assets? Were these something that you converted into rentals, or is it something that you would just buy and hold, and maybe a vacation home? What was the strategy behind that?
So I bought my first home when I was 25.
Okay.
I lost my first husband. He passed away. So I had a little bit of money for a down payment. I bought my first home. The home I grew up in, my childhood home, my parents wanted to sell. So they offered to sell it to me.
Okay.
And I wanted to rent it out. So they offered to sell me the house. I still had to get financing. They weren't going to carry me, but I had, again, a little bit of money, and I purchased that home and rented it out for, actually, I still rent that house out. This was in 1997.
So
it's still a rental.
This is when you're doing all this nursing, 100% dedicated to nursing, and on top of that, you're having to deal with the rental and real estate and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think, and I ask you because of, based off my experiences, do you feel like that maybe, was the reason why you were a lot more stressed during certain days, stuff like that,
Absolutely.
or different scenarios? Yeah.
Yes.
You're like,
this
yes.
home I grew up in, my childhood home, it needed a lot of work.
Okay.
When my parents sold it to me, it was kind of a disaster. They had been renting it out, and the renters had kind of destroyed it.
Right.
So my father and I gutted it and built it back up. We put a kitchen in, put flooring in. My dad taught me how to do a lot of stuff, so I'm actually pretty handy too.
Right.
I can lay tile.
Danny, let's go. We're like, Tracey, let's put a pause. We got some tile needed to be finished over there.
And I love that I can do those things, but it's an old house, and I know it intimately. It always needs attention.
Yeah.
I'm very careful about who I rent it out to.
Okay.
Because I manage my own rentals.
Okay.
It's the only rental I have right now.
Right.
I've had a couple more throughout the years, but I've sold them.
Yeah.
Because I have a business, so I'm trying to alleviate those stressors.
Yes.
This is very stressful.
Yeah.
And additionally, selling those properties cashing out has helped me with my growth with my business.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't say real estate is what I do, but it has helped me
Right.
immensely.
Right.
Immensely.
Right. And kind of on that same token, basically what I'm trying to get at as well too is I'll get a lot of questions when it comes to real estate. People be like, "Oh, it seems so easy." It's like no. There's a lot of stressors behind it, and then like you mentioned, that initial investment you won't see until later down the
Right,
road. So
right, yeah.
essentially, especially for my generation, I guess you could say, it's like you're sacrificing a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
It feels like sacrifice, but this is the way I view it. You're taking care of future Freddie.
Okay.
You love future Freddie.
Yeah. Ooh.
You want him to be set, right? So that's how I think about it. Like I am, I can't go buy a new car.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to take that vacation this year, but it's worth it. It's down the road that you're going to appreciate that you had the wherewithal to do that.
Right.
So, and in the meantime, you're working your 9-to-5 job. You're finding other ways to
Right.
make money. I've never flipped homes. That would be a little scarier to me. I view real estate as something that I buy and hold on to.
Yeah.
And, you do have to kind of have a knack for getting in and out.
Right.
And timing is pretty important. In this climate right now, it's really tricky. I've always had really good timing with real estate, but it seems a little harder these days.
Man, I get the goosebumps when you start
Yeah.
talking. I'm like, oh, dang, Tracey,
Yeah, I'm
let's go.
sorry. It can be
Heck
be
yeah.
a little scary for sure. But I love homes. I love real estate. I love design. My passion really is in those areas.
Okay.
But passion, like following your passion, doesn't always pay off. Do you know what I mean?
Why do you say that?
So you
I do,
hear,
but yeah,
you
what?
hear people say, follow your passion and you'll be successful.
Right.
I don't know about that. Some people are fortunate that they are born and they have a God-given talent and they're passionate about that and they can embark on a career and do really well. I feel like you can create passion in whatever you do, right?
Okay.
A job well done, embarking on what may seem like mission impossible and conquering that. Doesn't that sound passionate to you?
I mean, the way
Yeah.
you put it,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Now it's like,
Yeah. So I don't say to people, follow your passion. I say, go create some passion. Go do something that you feel proud of, that's respectful, that people look at you and say, wow, you did that.
Ooh, I like that.
That's kind of my thing.
ooh,
Yeah.
I'm going to steal that one, Tracey.
But all of this real estate stuff that I was doing, I had some land.
Yeah.
So when I bought my parents' house, the gentleman who had about 2 acres next door offered to sell that to me.
Okay.
And I bought it. My aunt helped me,
Right.
she helped me with a down payment and he carried my loan. But that's ultimately where I built the care homes.
Okay.
So I learned about these assisted living homes. I had land. I had mobile homes on this land. It was kind of a slumlord.
Yeah.
It was a really nice area, but I felt kind of like a slumlord.
Right.
So I really wanted to develop this land. I'm not a developer. I don't know what to do. But again, I'm going to do
Man,
something.
Yeah.
And I learned about these assisted living homes, and I'm like, wow, I'm a nurse. I have land. I can do this. I knew I could do it. Now, other people didn't think I could do it. Not everyone thought I could do it.
I feel like this happens a lot, though, Tracey.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure so many people are presented opportunities like that where internally they're like, oh, I could probably do this.
Mm-hmm.
But no one really takes action. What motivated you to?
Gosh. To be honest, I had a horse. I've always had a horse.
Okay.
And I was riding a lot, and I wanted more time.
Wow,
I wanted
man.
more time to ride my horse, and I
Let's
wanted more
go.
money to spend on my horse hobby.
Yeah.
That's really what motivated me. And I was tired of having my hands tied in a managerial position
Right.
and not being able to make decisions, not being able to like part ways with employees that weren't doing a good job. I was
Right.
frustrated.
Yeah.
I was working really hard. I was working like 24/7. Healthcare is just 24/7.
Right.
So I was used to being on call and, you know, kind of just working all the time. I'm like, why don't I do this for myself?
Yeah.
I have a passion. I do have a passion for senior citizens for sure. And I just knew I could do it.
Right.
And that's just something that each person knows. Like you said, you just innately know I can do this. You may not know how you're going to do it. You may not know all the details or the steps, but in your heart and in your gut, you know you can do it. And your instinct is everything with this.
Okay.
In life in
Yeah.
general. Think about our instincts and our gut. That is like, I talk about God-given gifts all the time. That's a gift we were given. We have instincts to keep us alive. It's a survival thing.
Right.
But it's something that we can use, that we don't use as much as we should,
Yeah.
right? Your inner voice, your gut telling you, this is a good idea, this is a bad idea. Just even small things every day, right?
Yeah, we silence it
We
sometimes.
silence it. And I do it all the time. And, you know, I'm learning more and more not to do that. Sometimes that instinct, we confuse it with like the voice, the recorder, like the
Right.
negativity in our
Yeah.
head. So you kind of have to
Learn how to
like
differentiate.
shake out
Yeah.
which is which. But I'm kind of rambling about this. But our instincts and our gut, it's reliable.
Yeah.
It's reliable. So I knew I could do it.
Like, man. So what were the next steps? You had that feeling. You knew
Yeah.
that you could do this. What were the next steps for Tracey?
Okay, so I started researching it. It's kind of funny. I have a notebook that it's like a journal, if you will, from when I did this. The first entry says research assisted living. That's where it started.
Man.
I got the idea and I wrote down. I'm a big like write notes.
Okay.
I wrote down research assisted living, and I got on the internet and started looking up assisted living. And then the next one was like research rules and regulations related to assisted living. You know.
Ooh, okay.
Then I was calling assisted living homes and shopping, like kind of pretending like
Right,
I'm
right.
looking a little bit.
Wow. Okay.
Just to get the ins and outs.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why go and recreate the wheel? Of course, you can take something and improve upon it, but you don't have to start anything from scratch unless you
Right.
truly are an inventor or something.
Right.
So, you know, I was just asking, sleuthing it out, just inquiring. And eventually it was like research, you know, financing for assisted living.
Okay.
So I went and I had equity in this land. So I went and talked with a banker, and my assumption was I would have to do, you know, like a personal mortgage to
Right.
build a home because it's real estate.
Yeah.
It's a business, but I'm also building like a special asset, which is real estate. And I was denied. I was turned down because it's like, no, you don't have enough equity, and you want to build this, you know, $700,000 house. This was back in 2009. So then I thought, okay, I'm asking the wrong question. I need to inquire about business loans, not personal loans.
So you were denied, and that didn't stop you. You're like,
No.
nope. All right, we got to figure something different out
Yes,
now.
yes.
Okay.
So I started, again, I'm talking to people along the way, and some people will give you good advice. Some people will dismiss you, and other people just will look at you blankly.
Right. Yeah.
But someone recommended, again, that I go to Pima Community College, go to their small business department and talk to them. And I
Okay.
did. And I met a gentleman over there who told me I should apply for an SBA loan,
Okay.
a small business
Yeah.
loan, which I had never thought of. You know, again, I had never started a business. So I looked up what financial institutions did SBA loans, and I found Wells Fargo. Engaged with a broker over there and kind of went through the application process, and you know, everything looked really good. And then I was told, well, you need a business plan. You need plans, you need blueprints, but even before that, you need a business plan.
Okay.
I've never wrote a business
Yeah.
plan. So I went back to Pima Community College, and this gentleman in that department kind of gave me a template, and once I was off and running with that, I loved it. The business plan.
Okay.
I would advise anyone and everyone wanting to start a business to write a business plan.
Right.
Even if it's just one page. Even if no one says, let me see your business plan.
Yeah.
Because it gives your project life. It actually, everything you put in there, it's almost like your subconscious, like spilling out onto the business page what your vision is.
Right.
And I still speak the language that's in my business plan. If I had you read my business plan, it would sound familiar, because it would be things I'm saying to you now about my business. It's a great exercise, and it forces you to kind of put pen to paper and really identify what you want to do.
Kind of illustrating basically just an action plan for your business.
Yeah, but it includes kind of like your mission statement and your plan, and just all of these details.
Wow.
That it seems like a cumbersome task, but it's very worthwhile.
Yeah.
It really is. Wow. So I had to do one, and it was very involved, and I had kind of like some marketing research, and you definitely have to do a pro forma, like a projections, do your spreadsheets, because you want to, obviously the bank's not going to loan you money if it's not going to be profitable.
I mean, more of a personal question, to tell you the truth, because I'm like, whoa, okay. So how do you come up with those projections if nothing's been established?
Okay, so it is all kind of pie in the sky.
Yeah, pie in the sky.
You are kind of like, ooh, like making up stuff, but you're doing research. You're looking at other businesses if they'll share with you. I'm all about networking.
Right.
And other business owners, some will share with you and some won't.
Okay.
And that's fine. That's fine. So you're just kind of asking around, doing some research, and then extrapolating from that, what's applicable to you. So for me, it had to do with like, what kind of rent could I charge?
Okay.
How much is my payroll going to be? Just pretty simple calculations.
Right.
But still, you're just plugging in numbers, and usually you tend to be more conservative, than the latter, than overshooting, because you don't. It's better to be conservative.
Exactly.
Definitely. So.
My question is, okay, all of this is happening. I mean, even if you were to get approved for, the financing, aren't you worried about not being able to go ahead and fulfill that? That action plan? Because that happens to me a lot.
Okay, so it is a roller coaster ride.
Right.
Truly, you are so like, wee, and you're like, no, wee, like and that is just what it is. So you are going to go up and down. You're going to be panicking and screaming.
Yes.
Your head off, and then you're going to be like, I'm fine. And then you're going to be panicking. That is just what it is.
Were there ever nights that you just didn't sleep, or?
Yes.
Okay. Speaking my language.
My gosh. Oh, yes. There were many nights I did not sleep.
Right.
I was panic stricken. I'm like, all these people, like, now I have a loan. Construction is starting. What in the hell have I done? Why am I doing this? Why did they believe me? What is happening? Like, this is terrifying.
Who gave me financing? Let's bring them in here right now.
What? This is crazy.
If you had the opportunity to go ahead and do it all over again, what would you have changed first?
That's a really good question. I'm not someone who ever regrets things that have happened, because all of our experiences just shape us and help us grow.
Right.
I would go easier on myself, because I was awfully hard on myself and trying to be, like we talked about earlier, too perfect throughout everything. I would have started delegating tasks earlier on. So I tend to think that I'm the only one who can do it, and I'm the only one who can do it well. That's not true. people do things better than me all the time. And it's taken me a long time to hand over certain tasks and things that I should have handed off sooner. Kind of got out of the trenches earlier so that I could be like running the ship instead of like down below. But I really have no regrets from anything I've done. I've learned a lot. You know, you learn, like we said, from our mistakes. But yeah, I think just letting people help me more, asking for help when I needed it, for sure.
Would assisted care living be something that if you had to do it all over again, you would? Or would
I'm actually in the midst of expanding, so I'll have 20 more beds.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully construction will start in early 2024.
Okay.
On the same property. Again, this real estate, this house and this land, this really set me up to do this.
Right.
So I'll have 40 beds altogether, and there's actually like potential for more growth. So early, like young Tracey, you know, assumed that, oh, I can open one of these. I'll run one of these.
Right.
No, why? Why stop there? And I'm like, I can open another one. Built another one. I have 20 beds. Again, you know, at that time I'm like, oh, this is good. I surely can't get bigger than this. No, I'm going to have 40 beds.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's even more opportunities.
Right.
So, you know, I always advise people, like, think big. Think big. Start slow. I mean, if you start off too big, it's a little too overwhelming, but don't assume that you're done growing in your business. There's
Right.
always room for growth.
Okay.
Like whatever you're doing, I don't care what it is. There's always room for growth. You can go bigger.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
And then stressors. How do you deal with stress now?
Stress is constant. Like life is stressful.
Okay.
You know, every day you wake up and it's stressful.
So stress is never going away. Period.
No, even if I didn't own my own business, if I worked for someone, I would feel stressed out. It's just you can't avoid it. Especially in this fast-paced world we live in, you know, it's just coming at you. People want something from you all day long, every day.
Right.
Do you experience that? Yeah. And, you know, I just kind of do the best I can, constantly like prioritize what needs my attention and give myself a break. Again, I keep kind of going back to that. You know, I'm doing the best I can. But something that really helps me avoid stress is just tackling the problem, like not procrastinating, just dealing with it head on. Like whatever it is, just take care of it. So, and then of course self-care, you know, nutrition, exercise, sleep. Sleep is really important.
Ooh, okay. Is that why you put so much of a focus in nutrition and exercise, or is that something just that you've always done?
I've always kind of done that, but I have to be feeling good. Like
Right.
I do so much in one day, you know, and I like working. I like moving. I like being on the floor and helping move people and furniture. Like I like doing those things, but to do what I do and to keep growing, I have to feel well. I have to feel well. You know, I like to dance and I want to do fun stuff on the dance floor, so I have to stay in shape. But going to the gym, I love going to the gym. If I can't go to the gym, I don't feel well. I feel off. I feel depressed, but you know, all those endorphins you get from going to the gym, like it sets me up for such a good day. So I work out almost every morning, and then I go to work.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys don't know, Tracey is buff. Like, she's buff. I'm gonna see if I can put some videos in here, but she's buff.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet.
What when it comes to nutrition, and just out of curiosity, you know, one entrepreneur to another, what do you stick to? Like what whole foods, or what are your go-to foods?
So I am a little bit of an under-eater just because I'm really busy, so I'm always kind of eating on the go. I'm not a big meat eater. I eat a lot of chicken. I love salad. I have to eat like small meals frequently. My metabolism is really fast, so I'm kind of a snacker. I love spinach, which is kind of weird. I love fruit. Every morning I have a smoothie. Every morning. In my smoothie I have oat milk. I put an avocado, half an avocado, almond nuts, fruit, a banana, some cinnamon, some chia seed. I pack this smoothie. It is my sustenance for like the first half of the day. Like, it's full of everything. And then when I'm at work, there's always really yummy food.
Yeah.
So I kind of eat what's being served there. I eat anything. I'm not picky at all, but every day I make sure I get fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Think about that. How many people probably never go days without ever having a vegetable? Right?
Yeah.
Do you eat veggies?
Okay. That's a conversation for another podcast.
So, yeah, just trying to take care of my body so I feel good, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, but not any kind of strict diet. I love cookies too. I eat a lot of cookies too.
Now we're talking. Awesome. Were there any times that you felt financially stuck?
Many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you do to kind of get over that hump?
So money is kind of something that is always, finances are always kind of there when you're growing.
It's and like stress and taxes.
Yeah, it's a stress. I kind of find that money will sort itself out one way or another. If your mindset is such that I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to, see if I can borrow from a family member, or maybe I'm going to take out some equity over here, or maybe I'm going to take a second job. I've had occasions in my life where I worked like 3 jobs to make money, to do things, to move me forward.
Yeah.
I kind of find that the money part will sort itself out. As vague as that sounds, worrying about it isn't going to necessarily fix it. Getting creative about it will. I don't have any investors, which I'm very happy about that. I don't have any partners.
Right.
And for me, I haven't had to, and I feel very fortunate about that. But some people, you might need to find someone who is a cash investor, or who wants like some ownership, some equity ownership, or maybe even a true partner. And also just, baby steps. Like in real estate, you can take a property and liquidate and buy a bigger property, right? So there's still sacrifice involved. You're giving up something to get something bigger and better, right?
In the future, maybe.
Oh. Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, no, and it's sometimes just like small incremental, like come-ups that you have that get you there. So don't undervalue those small gains, because collectively they really add up to something. And like I said, I've had, my aunt helped me acquire that land. I've since paid her off, but, I'm fortunate that I had her to help me, and I know that not everyone has someone to help them.
Right.
But money, it's definitely consideration. Every time I'm in a growth phase, I'm always freaking out about money, Freddie, because it's just part of life. And that little bit of anxiety that causes me and or you is actually kind of good. It kind of keeps you on your game and on your toes. But anytime I'm in a growth phase with my business, I'm buckling down, because it takes so much money to build new homes. And I don't want an investor. So I am figuring, I am budgeting, I am crunching, I am borrowing from this to that. I am getting very creative with financing. Very stressed, very stressed. I personally, the right amount of stress is perfect. We all need a little bit of stress. It just kind of keeps us going. But too much stress and it falls apart. It's like a manageable amount of stress. But just little kind of, just like tweaking things here and there to make a deal happen You've been there.
Yeah.
I know you have. You've kind of figured it out. Yeah, and like right now I'm in one of those phases. So, I'm worried about I don't have to be worried about it, but of course I am, because it's always a consideration. I'm like, I know what I'm going to have to come in with to close on this loan, but I'm worried, well, what if that changes? What if, my cost goes up? What if this happens? And the what ifs will just suck all the life out of you, but again, being prepared and, kind of planning for the worst is not the worst thing to do either.
Yeah, anything I do now is based off of ROI, even my groceries, literally.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what's the ROI on this? Is it nutritious?
Yeah, I love that.
Me going now, it's like, okay, what's the ROI on this? Like, does it bring me back value or no? Then okay.
I love that. I mean, think about how many little things we purchase that, it's just a waste of money.
Right.
And, you order something on Amazon, you don't want it. Return it.
Right.
Get back that money. First of all, why did you order it in the first place? But all the little incidental expenses add up to a lot of money. So creating a personal budget is so revealing to see where your money's going. But I love thinking about that, like what you're buying at the grocery. Like, I love the ROI on that for sure.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
Tracey. So I'm gonna get a little personal. You don't have to answer.
Okay.
Or if you feel uncomfortable, let me know. We don't have to put it. But my question is, so, man, that's a lot of stuff, and that's some pretty high level stuff too. Newfound respect as well. I mean, I had a lot of respect for you already.
Thank you.
But how does all this affect your personal life? I mean, how do you squeeze that into that?
It's it's challenging. It definitely affects my personal life in that I have to say no to things sometimes. I can't go away to that dance convention because, I have a new admission coming, or I'm not available to go on a date, or, I'm busy, or I'm interrupted. I was on a date last night and, my phone was ringing.
Yeah.
So it definitely is there, but the people who care about you, they understand.
Right.
And if it's someone in your personal life who's, not tolerant of that, then they're probably going to fall away. Because definitely running your own business, it requires so much time and so much energy. And I love it. I don't want that to sound discouraging to anyone. I mean, it is part of the deal. You are working hard, especially initially. And you will lose friends because they're going to be upset that you don't have time for them, and you're going to miss out on some fun things. But I've also kind of created some balance for myself. Not everything has to, I don't have to do everything. I can delegate these things. So I'll ask myself, why don't you ask someone else to do that, Tracey, so you can go do this thing, So I'm getting better at doing that. My job affords me a lot of flexibility, so I can still squeeze in all the fun things I want to do. And the workflow kind of comes at you in different waves. Like, there's periods where it's really busy and it seems really hectic, and then it's really peaceful and really quiet. And that's just what it is. So during those quiet periods, really take advantage of it. I'm like, that's when, I take my kids, but I'm like, we're going on a vacation, and, I'm really enjoying the quiet time. Because I know, in a few months, it's going to peak,
Yeah, it's going to get crazy.
It's going to get crazy. And that's just something I've identified in my business, that it just kind of comes at you that way. It's busy, it's slow, it's steady. And I have some systems in place that now make it so much more manageable. But I had to learn all that. I had to learn how to create systems whereby things ran seamlessly without me. So my business, kind of allows me to go and do my things while it's working for me, which I love. Right. I'm what makes it run well, and I am the person for sure who keeps it afloat, but I don't have to be there every day, all day long for that to happen.
Right.
I created something that does that
Okay.
with my guidance
Question
on
for
most
you.
days.
Most days. Question for you. How do you maneuver for example, this latest issue, the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
I know for real estate, like that was a little weird. I'm not sure if that affected you, and if not that, how do you deal with competition?
Yeah. The pandemic was insane. It was terrifying. We got through it just fine. I think that was a really awesome team building experience for me and my staff, because we all hunkered down together and took care of everyone, and we took care of each other and our residents, and we are only stronger because of that pandemic. So terrifying time though, but we did okay. What was the second part of your question?
Competition, dealing with competition.
You know, competition is healthy, and there are things that set me apart from my competition. And, you know, I'm a nurse, I'm the manager, I have a great reputation, and I definitely emphasize those selling points when I'm touring a potential resident. We have a great reputation in the community, so competition is healthy, and I lose some tours to my competitors, but they're my friends. I'm friends with my competitors. We collaborate. We share ideas. You know, yeah. No, oh, for sure. One of my mentors is a gentleman. He has altogether probably close to 300 beds. I mean, he's a big fish. He started off with 20 beds, like me. So he's grown. And I meet with him occasionally to kind of get inspired and get advice, because he's really smart. He's a really smart businessman. And he's a big competitor. His care homes are right up the street from me, you know?
Wow.
So, but we are friends, and he calls me with more clinical questions, because, you know, he calls me for advice too. But I've learned a lot from him and other care home operators as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being that you're so well established in the care home field, would you ever maybe think about or be open to possibly something different? I know, a different venture.
Yeah, I would, definitely.
In mind.
Since my background is mostly nursing and infusion, IV, I thought like having a nursing agency might be kind of something. You see, it's really popular right now, these IV infusion clinics, and the nurses come to you. That actually, I kind of wish I would have done that years ago, because that was really brilliant. But there's other therapies that people need that they can receive at home or even in an outpatient setting. And, you know, I think I could start an agency, a nursing home, and like infusion nursing agency. Yeah.
Hey, well, let me know, Tracey.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have like an app idea as well for caregivers to help private duty caregivers connect with people needing private duty caregivers.
Oh,
but
wow, okay.
Haven't done anything with that, but I have a really good idea.
Let's go.
Yeah, I talk about that. I've actually, like Kennedy and I have talked about it before. And mostly people just look at me like, what? You know, because sometimes it's hard to share your idea.
Right.
People don't understand it or whatever. So I just haven't taken any time to grow that idea further, but I should.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tracey, how could people who wanted more best practices or just more information on Aspen Care Homes get in contact with?
So I have a beautiful website, and it's just aspencarehome.com.
Okay.
Our phone number, my phone number's on there. There's really cool virtual tours. You can tour both homes virtually. Lovely pictures. It tells a lot about, you know, what we do and our philosophy. So yeah, anyone can go to my website. And then of course we're on Facebook and Instagram. I'm not really good about posting things. I need to be better. But the website is very informative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's so awesome. I'm like, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate everything.
This was fun. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.